The Green Line Extension project continues to be the top story in Somerville. Every aspect of the project is under review, including looking for cost savings and greater construction efficiencies. In addition to their redesign work, the interim project team is appearing at public meetings to keep local residents and the Department of Transportation and MBTA up to date on their progress. News Director Heather Aveson looks at the 3 most recent meetings, each with a different focus, but with common themes evolving.
Jack Wright and the GLX Interim Design Team have a daunting task, finding almost $1 billion in savings from the over-budget GLX project. But just as important is keeping the public and the DOT up to date on their progress.
I emphasize right now, job 1, goal 1 is to get everything possible down to its minimum elements so that there is a Green Line extension project.
Public comment often focuses on 3 subjects: station redesign, sound barriers and mitigation, and a growing concern that the community path will be diminished.
We have redesigned the stations to their very bare components. We are not saying this is the design of the stations. We're saying to get to the lowest possible number to still maintain Green Line service, these are the stations you would put out there. So there's a very big difference. It's a ways to go before the MBTA makes its decision on what it chooses to have in these stations.
The station vision and the architecture of all the stations are basically gone. And it's a loss. I'm not going to lie. It's difficult to basically throw away years of, where we're looking at station design, we're looking at details, we're looking at architecture, we're looking at materials even, and 3-dimensional models and renderings of stations that are now basically, there's no indoors anymore, they're all outdoors. There's no shelter, there's no glass, there's no kind of sense of the importance of these stations, I think, has been dramatically scaled back. So we want the Green Line. You can always improve a station. If you think for the long term, we have to have it. We could always come back and add an elevator, add a stair, add shelter. I think those things can happen over time, but we need to get the tracks going first and get the economic benefits of it and get all the stuff that we need. And then over time, we're playing the long game. We want the stations to be, in some ways to come back to what they should be. But that can't happen right now, obviously, or there's no project.
I'm here as a resident who has pleaded and cajoled and begged my neighbors who live along the corridor to support the Green Line. And the one thing that they asked me to do, to advocate for them at every single meeting, were the sound barriers and the sound dampening mitigation that would be part of this project. The last meeting I attended, 2 things jumped out at me. First was the elimination, if not completely, the drastic reduction of some of the sound walls as they travel through the residential, densely packed neighborhoods.
We are looking at noise mitigation. There is a requirement to do it. There are options within it of doing, for example, in some locations it's preferable for, to do the individual houses and do the mitigation right at, doors and windows, that sort of thing, as opposed to walls. But there is right now no decision that is changing the commitments along the corridor for what is out there. So there's a lot being looked at, but there is no change in the requirement to reduce the decibels back to what was required by the original documents.
I want you guys to help us get this community path built, not just for bikers, but have any of you been on the path like during rush hour when you have all the pedestrians and strollers, and it is so many people not taking cars. But there's a ton of people who want to see this built because it's extremely efficient. If you build it now, it's going to be so much cheaper than trying to build it later.
The community path, I have nothing but bad news still today. Although we're trying to get to a point where we can propose changes to the community path. We're still running numbers, but it is many tens of millions of dollars that is created by putting in the as-designed community path. I guess I'm reticent to try and put a hard number on it, but it's a lot more than the 27 million, which is mentioned in the full funding grant agreement. So that is it's a major cost driver. It is also, very hard to explain. Although it's a very important link, it makes a great connection. You're looking at a very, very large number for what is about 3 miles of path. We're hearing you. And the project team is a piece of it, but the project team has a described mission. More importantly, the MBTA, Mass DOT, and your elected officials have heard from the community. We understand the importance of the project for all those reasons.
I see substantial creativity here to reduce the costs. I'm pleased with that. I feel like there's a sincere effort on everyone here to make this work.
There are 3 more public meetings scheduled before the interim group presents their report to the Fiscal Management and Control Board on May 9th. They are Wednesday, April 13th in the Somerville High School Auditorium, Wednesday, April 27th in St. Anthony's Parish Hall, Cambridge, and Thursday, May 5th in St. Clement's Parish Hall, Medford. All meetings begin with an open house from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. where residents can view design documents, and from 6:30 to 9 p.m. there's a presentation from the team and time for Q&A. For more information on the project and upcoming meetings, visit greenlineextension.eot.state.ma.us.